For more now on the coalition against the Islamic State, I'm joined in our studio by Raymond Tanter. He's a professor of political science and a former member of the National Security Council in the Reagan-Bush White House. Mr. Tanter, welcome back to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You saw right there in the video this massive anti-American rally today orchestrated by Muqtada al-Sadr. He and others clearly feel disdain for the United States. But still, are you surprised, given the threat of the Islamic State, to see this huge crowd?
Well, no, because Muqtada al-Sadr has been one of those most responsible for killing British contractors as well as American soldiers during the war, during the 2003-2008-11 war. And it's no surprise that his organization, the Mahdi Army, spawned another group called the League of the Righteous, and they are some very vicious characters, and they're working with the Iranian regime to put out the lie that America created ISIS. It's nonsense.
I see, but you know, we understand that that IS obviously still a huge threat there. You don't think that they would be a little afraid at this point and relying somewhat on the United States?
Well, just like the United States is the main threat for Iran, Iran is the main threat for the United States. Why? Because Iran has spawned these proxy groups of radical Shiites that divide the Sunnis from the Shiites, creating, in effect, a vacuum where the Sunnis can align themselves with ISIS. So Iran is the problem, Susan, and cannot be part of any coalition.
Okay, I see. Secretary Kerry was in the Middle East trying to form this coalition. Where does Turkey fit in this now? Are they going to stay quietly on the sidelines as this goes on before them? Well,
if the Turks don't come up in big time and join the coalition, I suspect that they will sit quietly on the sidelines. And what does it mean? It means that maybe they cut a deal. Even though they say they didn't pay any money, they paid in political gold, I would say.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Iran. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. Iran has created a group of Shiite proxy organizations, and several of them are creating havoc, supposedly under the banner of protecting Baghdad and the Shiite South from ISIS. But if it weren't for Iran, there would not have been this political vacuum in Iraq. And what has happened is that these groups are operating northeast of Baghdad and becoming a major threat to Iranian dissidents in Iraq called the National Council of Resistance of Iran, and they are the ones that stand to gain Iran stands to gain the most from allowing these proxy groups to smash the National Council of Resistance of Iran membership. These are the moderate Shiites.
What if they come head-to-head with IS?
Well, the Iranian regime has plausible deniability. They say they're not operating, just like Russia's Putin says we're not operating in Ukraine. The Iranian regime says they're not operating because they have these proxies operating. And so the head-to-head won't be the Iranian regime. It'll be with the proxies and the American forces. The Americans are the ones that will have to put boots on the ground.
I was just going to ask you that. So the Arab nations, Egypt, Iraq, Lebanon, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, agreed to do their share in the comprehensive fight against IS. But is it in their best interest to put boots on the ground?
Well, no one wants to take casualties. No one wants to irritate ISIS. The Turks will just sit on the sidelines. The Saudis don't think that the United States is serious, so they will pay, but they won't pay in blood. And I think that at some point, President Obama is going to have to make a decision to allow American combat troops fight on the ground as military advisors at first, but then the mission creep starts, and here we go.
Here we go back in there.
Well, not in big-time way, but here we go up.
I see, I see. Going back to your days in the Reagan-Bush administration, you know, was there any inkling or intelligence of factions like this?
Well, there are factions within the administration, yes.
Like this, yeah, exactly. Factions like this group.
No, there's nothing like the combination of ISIS with the Sunni groups, because this is almost unique. But the interagency infighting between the White House and the Pentagon
obviously,
is obvious, and it's very dangerous for this country's interests. And the president is going to make a speech, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff have to come on board to the commander-in-chief, but he's going to have to come closer to the Joint Chiefs of Staff in order to solve this whole problem.
Oh, well, Raymond Tanter, always a pleasure. We really appreciate your time and taking us back and also looking forward.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.